Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Chaitanya Bhagavata ki jai. Prasiddha Paramananda Gupta Mahashai Purvajandra Gare Nityanandera Alai. Paramananda Gupta Mahashai was well known. Nityananda enjoyed pastimes in his house, Nityananda Alaya. So we've heard about other devotees who had pastimes with the Lord in their house because Nityananda regularly went door to door with Haridas Thakur, encouraging people to take up chanting the holy name. Bhaja Gauranga Kaha Gauranga Loha Gauranga Namare. Chant Gauranga's name, follow his teachings, follow Krishna's teachings. And oftentimes when they came to the door, it was a devotee's door. So they happily let in Nityananda and Haridas. And they enjoyed so many wonderful pastimes there. And sometimes when we go to people to ask them to chant, they would break a pot on Nityananda's head. So sometimes you're honored and respected when you go to preach. And sometimes you're insulted and rejected when you go to preach. It's all in the life of a preacher. You go to present a book and not everyone says yes. Not everyone says they're interested. Not everyone says they like it. Moreover, most people don't want it. They don't want your book. It's some useless book to them. But he was, it says he was well known. He was Prasiddha Mahashaya. And this is Paramananda Gupta Mahashaya. Baragachi Nivasi Sukriti Krishnadas Janhara Mandire Nityanandera Vilas. Another devotee named Krishnadas, he was a resident of Baragachi. Nityananda enjoyed pastimes in his house. Because mind you, chapter is Nityananda Vilas or Nityananda Lila, chapter 5, Antilila, Antikanda. So it's telling all the people that Nityananda interacted with. So sometimes it gives something specific to hold on to, and sometimes not much. He was Sukriti, he was a Nivasi, so he was a Baragachi Nivasi. And Sukriti, he was a very religious and pious person. It says Sukriti, it translates that he was fortunate. But Sukriti generally means he did lots of good deeds. Duskriti and Sukriti, he was a very religious, pious, and dharmic and charitable human being, as all human beings should be. Unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, most people are not very charitable or very merciful. Hardly to themselves they show mercy, what to speak of their immediate family members. But as far as outreaching programs or extensive exhibitions of charity or helping others, it's very less in this age. Very difficult for the indigent and the dependent to exist in this rather selfish age. Those dependent Brahmins who depend on judgmans and charitable human beings are high and dry. They can't survive or exist as pandavas or as Tirth Gurus because no one wants to give any money. So he was setting a good example. He living in a village, and he was famous for his Sukriti. Sukriti Krishnadas. Most people, Delhi Nivasi, Duskriti Das. Duskriti Maya Das. Noida Nivasi, Gorgaon Nivasi, Duskriti Krishnadas. Or let's say, Duskriti Bhogadas, or Durgadas. Indriya Das, Sharir Das, Patni Das, Pati Das. So he was so pious and pure and religious that Nityananda came to his house, to his mandir. Krishnadasa Devananda Dui Shuddhamati Mahanta Acharya Chandra Nityananda Gati. Krishnadas and Devananda were both pure-hearted. The exalted devotee Acharya Chandra accepted Nityananda as his goal of life. So he was very much absorbed. And Mahanta, he was Mahant Acharya Chandra. So he had like Gauranga, Nityananda had very exalted association. All the Acharyas and Gosais and Brahmins. And Acharya Chandra, exalted devotee, what made him so exalted is that he accepted his goal was Nityananda. Oftentimes people worship Gaur Nitai to attain Radha and Krishna. I say, oh bhai, Nityananda bine bhai, Radha Krishna payate nai. So the gati is, the prayojana or gati is Radha Krishna gati, Vrindavan gati. And Nityananda enables one to chant purely and enthusiastically when one remembers him and attains his mercy. And the pure, enthusiastic chanting of the name will bring one closely or quickly to the presence of Radha and Krishna. So in one sense, oftentimes devotees, they see Gaur Nitai as a stepping stone to Vrindavan, because even the songs are written like that without the mercy of Nitai you can't get the mercy of Gauranga, and if without the mercy of Gauranga, or especially Gauranga, then you can't realize or attain Radha and Krishna Gati, which is the ultimate attainment, the final goal or desirable objective of a Gaudiya Vaishnava's life. Gaudiya Vaishnavism, as Gauranga preached and the six Goswamis preached, and Narottam and Vishwanath and other prominent acharyas, they preached that the goal, the prayojana, is the Prem Seva of Radha and Krishna Vrindavan. And they describe the Rasakalaya Leelas and the method of bhajan and smaran and bhakti bhajan to attain that exalted and coveted goal. Afterwards, there are some acharyas that were emphasizing the goal is Navadvip. Afterwards, they very much emphasized the worship of Lord Gauranga and talked about getting separate Siddhadeyas and Gaur Leelas, Brahmin boys, and even practically contemporaries of Lord Chaitanya. In fact, he met Lord Chaitanya. Gopal Guru Goswami from Puri and his disciple, Dhyan Chandra Goswami, he wrote about this idea, which he learned from his guru, the dual meditation on Radha Krishna Leela as a gati and Navadvip Dham as a gati. Mahaprabhu Bhavan Dhyanam, to meditate on the home of Mahaprabhu and the home of Radharani and Varsana and the home of Krishna and Nandagram. And later acharyas in the 18th century, Siddha Krishnadas, they drew maps, how they came up with them. They drew maps of the 50 different rooms in Nanda Maharaj's palace and the 30 rooms or so, 30 rooms in Vrishabhanu Maharaj's palace in Varsana, and maps of Yoga Pit, and sometimes you see these for sale in the marketplace. The lotus configuration of the Yoga Pit with 4 pathways leading to the Yamuna, and in the middle there's some gopis in a circle or standing around Radha and Krishna in different directions of the lotus, different petals of the lotus. So these were created in the 18th century as facilities for meditation of the Raghunuga Bhaktas who were having Radha and Krishna as their goal, but they would have one for the Vrindavan Yoga Pit and one for the Mayapur Yoga Pit at Srivasangam or Srivas Pushpodyan. The gardens of Srivas Thakur, rather extensive, beautiful tropical gardens on the bank of the Ganga, that would be the site of Madhyan Leela from 11:36 in the morning until, or 11:48 in the morning, let's say, was it maybe 10 48 in the morning till 3:36 in the afternoon, Madhyan Lila. The equivalent of Radhakund here is actually Shiva's Udyan, that effulgent garden of Srivas Thakur, and there's the Yoga Pit configuration. In the middle there is Gaur Gadadhar, and there's Radha, as Gadadhar is Radha, as Radha and Krishna in the middle, and Radhakund Yoga Pit, and there's Gadadhar, Chaitanya, and Nityananda one side, and Vaita Srivas. And then all the bhaktas and certain bhaktas in different petals of the lotus. So this is the gati became a dual gati, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur picked up that thread and described that very much, that you can have two Siddhadeyas. But generally in the Goswami writings and the strict followers of Gauranga and the Goswamis and other lines, I don't think they emphasize too much that Gadadhar Parivar, Gadadhar Pandit Parivar. And I'm not sure, I don't think Advaita Parivar emphasizes much this, that the goal is, and even there's sometimes debate about whether there is such a thing as Nitya Navadvip in the spiritual world. The Navadvip is eternal, but it's just going like the circus is eternal, but this week it was in Bombay, next week it's in Nagpur. Circus is going on, same actors, same animals, but it's not eternal in your city, but it itself. So Nityananda Leela is eternal, and Navadvip is eternal, but not there. So what does it matter? But apparently there's some kind of coming and going. You're born and grow up and then enter the Leela, then leave, and born again, enter the Leela. As Lord Chaitanya had a birth Leela, and so did Nityananda and all the other Parishas in their traveling roadshow. So Advaita Sampradaya are of that contention, so they don't emphasize the dual Sarup concept. They follow the strict teachings of the six Goswamis. So their Param Gati, as we hear this term, Param Gati, is Radha and Krishna, and to realize their Siddhadeyas, Sakas or Manjaris, usually Manjaris. So there's some oneness and difference, even the goals in Gaudiya Sampradaya. Krishnadas and Devananda were both pure-hearted souls. The exalted devotee Acharya Chandra accepted Nityananda as his goal of life. So here we've lumped together in one verse, 749, three different devotees. Krishnadas, Devananda, and Acharya Chandra. So Krishnadas and Devananda, they were Dui Shuddha Mati, pure-hearted, but really it means they were pure-minded. So mind and heart. If your mind is pure, free from greed and anger and lust and envy, then your heart is also free from greed and anger. There's no lust in your mind, no lust in your heart. So your heart is peaceful, your mind is peaceful. They're oftentimes interchangeable concepts. Chitta depends on the author, which way he wants to go. But oftentimes chitta is translated as mind or heart, or even consciousness. Cheto Dharvana Marjanam, clean the mirror of the mind, clean the mirror of consciousness, clean the mirror of the heart. And generally mati means one's intelligence or his perception or vivek, his discriminatory powers. So their intelligence was pure, they were fixed on God and no other objective in their life. And then Acharya Chandra, he was the one, Nityananda Gati. His goal was Nityananda. It's specifically mentioned, that's his speciality, that Nityananda was his Gati. Because we heard that they were Prem Ras and so many different qualities they had. Parama Udam and Sarva Papa Nash. Remember Gadadhar Das, your sins are destroyed. So this is the first one we've heard about after about 18 devotees, that his goal of his life is Nityananda. So this is a very fortunate personality. In text 750. Gayana Madhavananda Gosha Mahashai Vasudeva Goshati Prema Rasamai. So now we're hearing about the Ghosh brothers. They're often described. It's a very common name in West Bengal. In general, because Ghosh is actually a caste. Say Agrawal. Generally people think Agrawal means a businessman of some sort. Or Marwari, you say Marwari, then people think like that. So the Ghosh brothers means that they're generally take care of cows. They're like Gopas. The Ghosh brothers, the Ghosh like you have Goshta. Goshta means the pastures. Uttara Goshta Lila. It's about this time of the day, 4 to 6. And Krishna comes back from the pastures. Uttara, like Ulta Rath, we say Ulta Rath. It means return Rath, Ulta. And Bengal, that's an Uttara Goshta. Krishna coming home with all the cows and coward boys. So the Goshtas are those type of people. They're fortunate they're with cows all day and night. They sleep with the cows and wake up with the cows. It's pretty much their life and soul as cows. That's a nice association. Live with a cow day and night. They get people that take care of cows are forced to get up early because the cows get painful about Brahma Muhurta, where they start getting painful. Because if they're proper cows, they're giving lots of milk, and so they give twice a day, every 12 hours. So in the morning, about 4:35, their milk bags are busting with milk, and they feel painful unless the milk comes let down. So they start to cry usually. Oh, 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 oh. And then that's like the milkman is supposed to already be there, was giving them some food, and so they relax and bring the calf over there and tying the calf near the mother, even letting the calf start to milk on the udder. Take a few sips, and then they tie the calf near the mother's head, and she keeps licking the calf, and the milkman is taking the milk out. So that's early in the morning, way before sunrise in many cases, obviously. 4:35, 5:30. So that's a lot of time with the cow. From 4:30 in the morning until 6, 7 o'clock at night. 14 hours a day with the cows. That's a love. They have a certain love, or at least they used to. This is the Goshas. And they're famous as singers. Lord Chaitanya's Leela. They would come to Rath Yatra and he would have them sing and dance there, and they sang and danced in Mayapur Leela. Madhavananda and Vasudev Ghosh. Usually it says Madhava and Vasudev Ghosh. He was a singer, and Vasudev was Vasudev was Ati Prema Rasamaya. He was Maya. He was saturated filled with Prema Ras, like so many others, and he was a great singer. His cup was so full that it overflowed. If you pour lots of milk in a small cup, then the cup will fill up and spill over. So Vasudev Ghosh's heart was filled up with Gauranga Prema Ras, Radha Govinda Prema Ras, and it was overflowing. And it overflowed from his heart. It gushed out of his heart through his mouth. That was the nearest outlet. So he opened his mouth, Haribo, and out came the Prema Ras flow in the form of his Madhura Kirtan, which is described also in Chaitanya Bhagavat, that the singing of Vasudev Ghosh and Madhav Ghosh was just like a stream, endless stream of honey. Madhur Geet. So this is the best use of Prema Ras. If one is Ati Prema Rasamaya, and he can share it with others through the medium of singing sweet love songs about Radha and Krishna and Gauranga and Nitai, then he'll certainly make everybody else full of Prema Ras. I think it's called Rasa Kirtan. Kirtan full of Ras. Mahabhagyavanta Jiva Pandit Udhar Janragare Nityananda Chandra Vihar. The most fortunate Jiva Pandit was magnanimous. Nityananda enjoyed pastimes in his house. So obviously the general trend here is that God likes to be with his devotees. He may have some other secondary activity, but his primary pleasure in life is to, at least in his Udar Leela, or his Avatar Leela, Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya Glanir Bhavati Bharata Vitaram Dharmasya Tadatmanam Srijamyam. And his Dharmic Leela in the material world, besides preaching, establishing Dharma Samstapaya, Dharma Samstapan, to establish the strong foundation of Dharma based on Shastra and Vaishnava worship and cow protection. Then the Lord comes to do that. But even when he comes, he brings his friends. He could come alone and beat up everybody. He could come by himself and put everything in order and go back to Ayodhya Dham or to Vaikuntha or to Korma Kshetra or Nrsimhaloka or wherever they reside. Laghu Bhagavatamrita says all the avatars have their own planets. And Kormaloka has his own planet also. Sometimes people ask questions about that. And artists have often depicted these different avatars, trying to understand what they're all about. And acharyas have often commented when inquired that if you're attracted to Korma avatar, because one of the Das avatars, of course, is Korma, or better yet, the Varaha, and you worship Varaha, then you go to Varaha's planet and you get a form like that. You become a planet full of pigs, transcendental pigs. There's a chief pig and all the worshippers. Like Vishnaloka, Vishnu has 4 arms, and all the residents, at least the human ones, also have 4 arms. Because that's his form. But if your Lord you worship as a form of a pig, then you get Sarup Yamukti. And Sarup Siddhi, then you become a pig also. Or you worship the Korma, then you become a turtle. They all have swimming races or something with the Lord, or he climbs on your back and you carry him around, or he carries, one turtle climbs on the back of another turtle. Can't say. But I heard from some acharyas, they say that generally, and you see paintings like this, I have seen, that from the belly up they have 4 arms and human form, like mermaid type. And the belly down they're shaped like a fish, mean avatar, or Korma, some type of lower form that distinguishes that particular form. Either way, that doesn't seem like a very attractive way to go. It says that they have their own individual planets. This is an often asked question. Does Nrsimhadev have his own planet? And the answer is yes, there's Nisringaloka. So the Lord could come by himself, but when he comes to the material world, he brings all his devotees, and not that he engages all of them in killing demons. Mother Yashoda wasn't out killing Aghasura, or Kamsa, or Shishupal. They're just part of his entourage goes before him so he can enjoy. Like wherever the movie star may go, or the politician, the prime minister may go to different places for political work, or the movie star may go to different countries to shoot a movie, but he usually brings his wife with him. Because when he's not shooting, then he's cavorting with his wife. He's not doing his work of shooting or politicking. When President Obama from the US of A came to India, I think he brought Mrs. Obama Mata, came with him, and she's a whatever she is, so she got to tag along on the presidential jet. So these are all the wonderful associates of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, Madhavananda Ghosh and Vasudev Ghosh. So Jiva Pandit, he was magnanimous, udar, and Mahabhagyavanta, very fortunate. And again, Nityananda Chandra, Bihar. He had pastimes in his house. And that's what the Lord relishes. All right, knock off Jagai and Madai, liberate them. Okay, let's have a kirtan. Let's have prasad. Let's swim in the Ganga. Let's go to Jiva Pandit's house and enjoy pastimes. You don't hear any verses here where Nityananda went to Madai's house and enjoyed pastimes. Madai Gare, Jagai Madai Gare, Janra Jagai Madai Gare, Nityananda Chandra Vilas. We don't Vihare, we don't read that. They were the objects of his Kripa, his mercy, Kripa Patra, Nitai Kripa Patra. They were. And they were the derelicts and degraded debauchees of Kali Yuga that he came here to liberate. So he did that job and got on with the real business at hand, which is to party. The Lord's main objective is to party, to enjoy Leela. Nityananda Priya Manohara Narayan Krishnadasa Devananda A Charijana. Now he's saying that these four devotees, Devananda and Manohar, Devananda and Krishnadas, whom he mentioned, and two new he is introducing, Manohar and Narayan were all very dear to Nityananda, Nityananda Priya. So this is, of course, a desirable position to attain, to be Krishna Priya or Radha Priya or Guru Priya or Nityananda Priya, to be very dear and near and devoted to and bound in an intimate, loving relationship with Nityananda. So this concludes our glorification, summary glorification of a selected group of Nityananda's intimate associates who were part of his Sankirtan party and part of his Vilas Leelas in this world. Jata Britya Nityananda Chandra Sahite Shatavatsariyota Na Parilikite Sahasra Sahasreko Sevakera Gan Sabara Chaitanya Nityananda Dhanapran. I am unable to write about all the servants of Nityananda Chandra. Nityananda Chandra Britya. Even in 100 years, Shatavatsari, Vatsari, Parilikite. I cannot write. If I keep moving my hand and turning the pages for 100 years, and I don't have that long to live, I'm already quite old. Even if I had that much time, I would not be able to reach the end of the glories of the servants of Nityananda. So Srila Prabhupada is one of those great servants of Nityananda. And if we take our hand and we write for many years, Satsrupa Maharaj, his hand was moving for 10 years. He wrote about Prabhupada for 10 years and produced Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. And then another god brother wrote for 6 years and wrote Transcendental Diary. And he didn't reach the end. Then another god brother wrote, What is the Difficulty? And he wrote for 2 years and he didn't reach the end. So no matter who takes up the task of glorifying Prabhupada and writing about him and enunciating his unlimited glories, they write for some time till their hand doesn't move any longer, and then they retire, and someone else continues. So if 100,000 devotees write for 100,000 years, they'll never reach the end of the glories of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There's always another book about Prabhupada. I've read this book about Prabhupada and Hayagriva's books about Prabhupada. Now I'm reading Mukunda Swami's book about Prabhupada. And so many, and each one shows more and more unlimited features of Prabhupada. They were having kirtan with Prabhupada, and because I intuitively thought this myself, and he said, listen, because they asked him, one day, Mukunda Swami, who was learning Mridanga from Srila Prabhupada in 1968 and in San Francisco, and he said, Prabhupada, can you tell us something about the Sankirtan party of Lord Chaitanya? And Prabhupada went into a long discussion based partly on Chaitanya Charitamrita's description of Beta Kirtan pastimes and Madhya Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita, describing the Sankirtan parties organized at Rath Yatra by Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu himself. So in front of Jagannath's cart, there was one Kirtan party with 4 Mridanga players, and there was 8 kartals with each one, 32 kartal players, a lead dancer, and 8 different backup singers with each dancer and one singer. And then there was one party in the back and one party on either side. So there were 4 kirtan parties moving with the cart. And the sound was thunderous. And then Prabhupada said, and the style was because he saw the devotees weren't playing like that in the beginning, kirtan. So Prabhupada told the story of told the history of how Gauranga would organize the Sankirtan parties, Harinam Sankirtan. So he said when the lead singer would be leading, because there's no amplifiers even then, they're not loud enough sometimes, all the people that were playing kartals and mridanga, they would play soft. They would reduce the velocity of their ferocity in playing the wampers and kartals, as some people do, play with a mindless abandon of enthusiasm and not paying attention to anything about the poor hoarse voice of the lead singer, who was trying his best to screech out the Mahamantra above the clanging and banging of quote-unquote enthusiastic kartal and wamper and mridanga players. So he said that actually the standard is that everyone gets quite quiet, and then when he finishes and everyone's singing together in chorus, the backup vocals, you can say, then they play significant louder. So it's a series of loud, soft, loud, soft, loud, soft. So that this makes common sense, and common sense was certainly the standard in Gauranga Mahaprabhu's followers. Prabhupada once said, 50% of Krishna consciousness is common sense. He said, if you don't have any common sense, then follow someone who does. But at all times, don't be nonsense. So sometimes the residents of different areas of the world are not very practical, or do not exhibit lots of common sense. So we read this other verse that each of these servants that we've heard about, they had thousands of followers. As I mentioned before, they three primary Gaudiya Sampradayas, disseminating the teachings of Gauranga, Gadadhara Sampradaya, Advaita Sampradaya, Nityananda. I said by far Nityananda, his branch, the Parivaran, the Parampara of Nityananda is the most extensive and voluminous of all the Gaudiya Vaishnava lines of Parampara. And you can get some idea here that we heard of all these great acharyas and pandits, and each of them had thousands of followers. Sevakaragan. Sahasra Eko Sevakaragan. So they had groups and groups, hundreds and hundreds of groups of Sevites and Sevakas that were dedicated to the service of Nityananda. And they all accepted Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda as their wealth in life. Chaitanya Nityananda Dhana Pran. So that bhajan is there by by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Shadavan Janahe, Shadavan Janahe. Oh men, oh Jana, oh people, listen. You have faith. You possess faith. We have Shastriya Shraddha. Do you have faith in the Shastras and the Dharma and God? Then Krishna Mata Krishna Pita Krishna Pranadhan, Krishna Mata Krishna Pita Krishna Pranadhan, Shadavan Janahe, Shadavan Janahe, Nityananda Mahajana Patti Achimada. There's that song about Nityananda, that he is such a great soul, and he created such faith in people if they didn't have it, and if they had it, it deepened by his association. And they became so faithful, Nityananda, and so dedicated to his service, that they accepted him as their life and soul, Pranandan. Krishna Pita, Krishna Mata, Krishna Pranandan, that Krishna Gauranga, they're my mother, my father, my wealth of my life. And I have that faith. I need no one else. Nityananda Mahajan. Nadiya Godrume Nityananda Mahajan Patti Achi Namahata Jivara Karan. Jivara Karan, for the benefit of the jivas. For the cause, the Karan, Sarvakarana Karanam. For the cause of the jivas, he has opened a store to sell Reebok shoes. And Bandra West. Not East, that's not accepted. So he's opened a Namhat. He's opened a place to distribute the holy name. And what do you have to pay? You have to pay with your faith. Faith is required. That's the only commodity. Your capital is your faith. You have to invest your capital, your faith. And then he'll become your mother. Nityananda will become your mother, your father, and your very wealth. You'll become wealthy and rich. Because Nityananda will give you the greatest wealth. What is the greatest dhan? How you become the Parama, Ati Parama, Dhani, Jana, most excessively top, most wealthy person in the world? That you become wealthy when you attain Krishna Prema. Radha Krishna Prema, and that fortune is available to those that accept Nityananda as their life and soul. Nityananda Mahajan. Now we're starting a new chapter, chapter 6. It's called the Nityananda Prabhu Mahima. That was Nityananda Prabhu Vilas. This is Nityananda Prabhu Mahima. So we're very fortunate at this particular time of the year of Magh Mas. And for some time we've been hearing chapter 5, which is Nityananda Vilas, all about the pastimes of Nityananda. And of course Nityananda's Avirbhav is on Magh Shukla Trayodasi. We're just hearing so much about Nityananda, we practically feel his presence. Once Gaura Sundar said, anyone who has unflinching love for Nityananda, that is a proof that he has love for me also. There's no doubt, Chaitanya said, Nityananda is not different from Baladev. Nityananda is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even if Nityananda goes somewhere and drinks wine, or he associates with women. He is the eternally worshipable personality, even for Lord Brahma, the Father of the universe. Jaya Jaya Gora Chandra, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Jaya Prabhu Raja, Jateka Bhaktavrinda. All glories to Gora Chandra. All glories to Nityananda, Prabhu. All glories to all the devotees of the Lord. Gora Bhaktavrinda ki jai. Henamate Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Chandra, Sarvadasa Sahakare, Kirtana Ananda. In this way, Lord Nityananda Chandra enjoyed the ecstasy of Kirtan with all his servants. Kirtanananda. Have you heard this name before? Prabhupada gave one of his first disciples his name, Kirtanananda. Very glorious devotee has left this world to join Prabhupada. And Sarvadasa Sahakari. So all of his servants, he really enjoyed Kirtan. Mahaprabhu Nityananda Chandra. Mahaprabhu, that's interesting, it says, Mahaprabhu Nityananda Chandra, he's also being referred to here as Mahaprabhu. Sarvadasa Sahakari Kirtanananda. This is real pleasure. Kirtanananda. Pure joy. No side effects, no cost, no. You don't even get tired. Most types of activities which people engage in to derive some pleasure or satisfaction, they result in fatigue. Especially the so-called source of the greatest pleasure of human beings, which is the amorous affairs of men and women. They also result in fatigue. The Prabhupada said you can go on chanting Nitai Gaur, the Hare Krishna mantra, hours on end, and you'll never get tired. I get more and more enthusiastic. If you're a bhakta. If you're not a bhakta, then you'll chant, oh, I'm tired of this chanting. I want to go home. But a bhakta, he has ruchi. Bhakti actually begins at the level of ruchi. That's the beginning of bhakti. Bhakti abhas. Bhakti means bhav. Bhakti means prema. You've heard Vaishnava, Praya. You've heard Prakrita Bhakta. So that's us. You've heard of Bhakti abhas. Bhakti abhas, Nama abhas. What is this abhas thing? That means something like, but not quite. It's a semblance of. It's a little bit light, but it's not sunlight. It's a little bit day, but it's not daylight. It's called dawn. You don't see the sun, so it's not sunlight. But there's an increase in illuminance and decrease in darkness. So you say, oh, the day is heralding. The sun is rising, I guess, unless somebody has a bright flashlight out there. Maybe it's a big floodlight out there at a new supermarket, lighting up the sky, giving the illusion of sunrise. So this is real pleasure, Kirtanananda. So after Anartha Nivritti comes Nishtha. That means Nishtha in the practices of bhakti, but still no taste. And taste comes, phenomenon manifests. Madana janana sundarim kavidam ba jagadisha kamliye mama janmane janmaneshwari bhavatad bhakti rahoite kidoi. When bhakti ruchi comes, nam ruchi comes, sadhu ruchi comes, katha ruchi comes, seva ruchi comes, and then one becomes fearless. He no longer fears anything because he knows he's with Krishna. The spiritual world is here and now and forever. So he doesn't care whether for liberation because he's liberated. Ruchi itself, once one has a strong footing in bhakti, which is ruchi, practically he's liberated. Ruchi quickly goes up the scale. And he loses because he's liberated, because if you have no taste in the material world, you're not generating any material activities. If you're not generating any material activities, there's no material reactions. There's no punya phal or papa phal. No phal means no tree. You can't get it. You can't get a fruit without a tree. So you create a karmic tree by karmic activity, and karmic activity one engages in based on karmic desires, material actions. So when one is a ruchi bhakta ruchi, then he has no desire for wealth, profit, adoration, woman. Once someone said to me, they said, Maharaj, if you don't have any desire for a woman, then what's the point of this material world? What's the point of working? He was just musing one time, a young college student. He asked me, he said, if a man doesn't have any interest in women, then his world is over practically, because he has no need to work. He doesn't want to work. He doesn't want a woman. So what does he do then? I said, that's very good. Are you like that? He said, I'm feeling like that now. And I said, let's see, when you get out of college, how you feel. I haven't heard from him since. I think he got married. So this is the ruchi, so then one can really experience the kirtanananda. So we'll continue there with this new chapter of Nityananda Prabhu Mahima. Chaitanya Bhagavat, February 2nd, 2012, only 3 days away from the Avaratithi Mahotsav of Nityananda Swarup, Nityananda Chandra. And appropriately enough, or luckily enough, or fortunately enough, we have come to the juncture of the Chaitanya Bhagavat, where we're recounting his Mahima. This chapter 6 of Antya-lila is called Nityananda Mahima. And we were on verse 3. Vrindavana madhya jena karilena lila semata Nityananda Sarupera Kela. Nityananda Sarup enjoyed his pastimes in Navadvip with all of his devotees, the same way that he did previously in Vrindavan Dham with all the wonderful cowherd boys. So this is his Audarya Madhurya blend. Blending sweet and sour in the same meal. Not sweet and sour really, but two forms of sweets, really. And this is Swarup Kela. He was playing in the pastimes of distributing love in Navadvip Leela, and playing in the pastimes of relishing love in the Krishna Leela. It's all Kelana or Kela. Nityananda Swarup Kela. Vrindavana Madhya Jena Karilena Leela. Nityananda Swarupera Kela. So he's enjoying the pastimes. That's his Leela. That's what I said, that the Lord comes, even if he comes for Audarya work or magnanimity work of preaching and liberating the fallen souls and establishing Dharma, that's secondary to his actual purpose of relishing Leela and enjoying with his devotees. So that's emphasized here. Vrindavana madhya yena karilena Leela semata Nityananda Sarupera Kela. In Vrindavan, in the middle of Vrindavan Madhya, he enjoyed so many wonderful Leelas. Vrindavan Leela with all the cowherd boys, and sometimes the cowherd girls, and of course his own cowherd girls, his Sapaksha Sakhis of Dalji Balaram. He would have his Ras Leela at Ramghat, and he would get together with his brother Krishna and his cowherd friends and other cowherd boyfriends, Sridham Subal, Madhamangal. At this time of the year, they would begin their holy Leelas. And sometimes Krishna's gopis and Balaram's gopis and the cowherd boys, they're all together throwing colors and squirting colors and throwing flower lac bombs on each other, enjoying the sports of Holi amidst so much singing and dancing and merrymaking. Hakaitava rupe sarva jagatera prati lao jayina Sri Krishna Chaitanya ratimati sange parishadagan parama udham sarvanava dripa brahme mahajotirdham alankara malaya purnita kalevar karpura tambula shobhe suranga adhar Deki Ram Nityananda Prabhura Vilas Keho Sukha Phaya Karo Na Janme Vishwas. Nityananda sincerely induced everyone in the world to become attached to Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Ratimati. He wanted everyone's intelligence to become attached to Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Sarva Jagatera Prati. Akaitava Rupa. Very interesting description. This is the particular phrase that Vrindavan Das Thakur is using to glorify his Ishtadev, Nityananda. Instead of saying Prem Sarup or Kelana Sarup, he's saying Akaitava. Akaitava Rupe, Sarva Jagatera Prati. If you don't know Kaitava, you know this word Kaitav. Kaitava. Bhagavatam, famous verse, Dharma projita Kaitavo cho paramo nirmatsaranam satam. This Bhagavatam kicks out all the cheating religions, Dharma Kaitavo. So Kaitav means cheating, cheaters. This is one of the defects of the conditioned souls. We're all cheaters. It's a matter of how much and how big and whether or not we've been caught or not. Some cheaters get caught. Some cheaters get away with for some time until the Yamadutas put the cuffs on and give you hand you a search warrant and search your subtle body and take you to Yamaloka for trial and punishment after serving a search warrant at the front door of your mouth as they drag your subtle body out your mouth or anus or wherever they want to take it from, depending on your modal departure. So that's the kaitavs, the cheaters, the imperfect senses subject to illusion, commit mistakes. So cheating is the Kaitav Rup. So if the author is describing a Kaitava Rupe, then there must be Kaitav Rup. So who are they? If a Kaitav Rup describes God, God is a Kaitava Rupa. Nityananda Balaram Dalji is a Kaitava Rup. His form is free from all cheating. Because cheating is a result of three things: imperfect senses, committing mistakes, and illusion. You can't but cheat yourself or be cheated. Be cheated by the misconception of the imperfect senses or the misunderstanding or misreading of the environment due to those imperfect senses. So we cheat ourselves, and since we're already cheated in our own misconceptions and our own perceptions, then we're bound to cheat others. That's you can't help it. But so we have Kaitava Rup. But Nityananda is described as a Kaitava Rup, Sarva Jagatera Prati. He wanted to take everyone in the universe and immerse their intelligence and their thinking and their conception in the proper conception, the Krishna conception, the Gauranga conception. Bhaja Krishna, Koro Krishna Shiksha. He wanted everyone to follow the teachings of Gauranga and Krishna and chant their names and worship them. He wasn't a cheater. So Kaitava Rupa Nityananda, so it's translated here, he sincerely induced everyone. Very interesting. Of course, it must mean that also in Bengali, a Kaitav means, I guess what it means is that if you're a cheater, you can't be sincere. And that's really another meaning. If someone is a cheater, then he's pretending to be a sincere devotee, putting on tilak, kantimala, and trying to fake it. He's actually cheating. He's profiling, false profiling, and cheating. So then he's really not sincere in his practices. It's some ulterior motive in his performance of bhakti. Akaitava Rupa, he sincerely induced everyone in the world to become attached to Krishna Chaitanya. Nityananda Prabhu attracted everyone to Shuddha Bhakti, as propagated by Sri Krishna Chaitanya. This idea of Nityananda attracting everyone to Shuddha Bhakti, this is the Tika of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, because it's easy to see. He's commenting. The commentator who wrote this comment, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he's taking these words, Rati Mati, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Rati Mati. So Rati, of course, means attachment. Rati Bhav, Prema. Nishta, Rati Bhav, and Prema. So when he's saying he induced the world to become attached to Sri Krishna Chaitanya, that means that you're attracting everyone to Shuddha Bhakti. Krishna, pure bhakti. Prabhupada, that was the substance of his life. He was oozing pure bhakti of Radha and Krishna and Gauranga from his every pore of his existence, his every glance, his every touch, his every movement, his every word, his every gesture, his every idea, and his every seva was simply imbued with this Krishna Rati, Radha Rati. And he wouldn't settle for less. When Prabhupada preached, he preached the topmost thing. He didn't preach any adjusted or watered down philosophy. When he was initially starting and incorporating his movement in New York, some well-wishers and trustees that were going to sign his trust, some American New York, they were not. He said, Swamiji, why don't you call Society for God consciousness? That would be more appealing to the masses of people. This Krishna is something unknown or esoteric here in America. They don't even know what it is, or who it is, or where it is. But God, everyone has an idea. People can relate to it. So he said, no, I will not compromise. Krishna is Krishna. I'm giving the real thing, the topmost thing. God means so many things, and people walk around with placards. In the 60s, they walk around with placards and signboards. God is dead. God is dead. And oftentimes Prabhupada would challenge newspaper reporters and interviewers. So you bring anyone. You bring any rascal yogi. Bring any rascal yogi, rascal scientist, politician, philosopher. You bring anyone, and I'll prove to them that God is not dead. Prabhupada is a fighter. He's a tiger among preachers. I'll prove to them that God is not dead. He's alive, and I'll challenge them that I can show them God. Sakshat Darshan. I guarantee that. Bring them all. This is conviction based on realization, a conviction based on pure love of God. If God is standing in front of you and behind you, on all sides of you, then certainly you're convinced of the reality and absolute truth. Nityananda Sarapati Prati Sri Krishna Chaitanya Rati Mati. He was doing this work. And Prabhupada was carrying on the same work. The greatly effulgent Nityananda wandered throughout Navadvip in the company of his enthusiastic associates. Now remember, this chapter, of course, will be interwoven with pastimes. The previous chapter was Nityananda Vilas. The pastimes of Nityananda, it's like stereo distraction. This year and that year, it's very... I only have 2 ears. The primary focus of the previous chapter was pastimes, and preaching to the conditioned souls and engaging in Sankirtan. This chapter is called Nityananda Mahima. So they'll be bringing out, the author will be emphasizing and bringing out many of the specific, special qualities of Nityananda Mahima that made him so wonderful, or makes him so great and worshipable. So here it says that he's Parama Udham, Sange Parishad Gan, Sange Parishad Gan. In it, with his associates, he wandered. Sarvanava Dvipe Brahme, Mahajotir Dham. The whole phrase is not even included here, but I guess greatly effulgent. But when you say Mahajotir Dham, as you know, we reviewed this. Dham means abode, reservoir of Jyoti, light, effulgence. So he was greatly effulgent. He was an entire planet. We look at the sun planet. The sun planet, in one sense, is a dham. It's an abode. You can say the Surya Dham. As we were saying, Jyotir Dham, Surya Dham. So Dham means abode, an entire planet of light, sunlight, Jyotir Dham. But not just one planet of light, but a Mahajotir Dham, the biggest possible effulgent sunshine or sun planet anyone could imagine. That was Lord Nityananda. So this is what it's saying, that this is his quality, this is his Mahima. You may be a relatively effulgent master of yoga and raised your kundalini from your Muladhara chakra, and that brilliant light of kundalini is now illuminating your cranium and giving you so much tej coming out your eyes because of that fire. And then you have the impression of being extremely effulgent, and people will notice it. But that's nothing compared to being a Mahajotir Dham. And this wonderful effulgent abode of love and brilliant love, he was Parama Udham. He was very generous to everyone and blessing them. And we read this verse describing the qualities, or how did he look like. These are some of the general impression from a distance, that he was in association with others, his Sangha, Nityananda Sangha, Navadvipe Brahme. He was wandering in Navadvip with others, not alone. He's not just like Jad Bharat moving alone, or Dhruva moving alone, or Narada Muni moving alone. So many great sages, they move alone. Niskinchan sadhus. Avaduts, Gorkishore, he moved alone. And Jagannath Das Babaji moved alone, wandered. Gorkishore wandered all over Brajmandal for 30 years, alone. And Jagannath Das, it was Vamshidas Babaji, he was Avadut, Gaudiya Vaishnav. He wandered with Gaur Nitai. His name, Murtis, that he would worship. He often would go up and down the Ganga on a boat and carry his name, Murtis of Nitai Gaur, with him. But Nitai is wandering with so many of his associates. Sange Parishadagan. Sange Parishadagan. And now, you see him, he's surrounded by his associates, he's unbelievably, inconceivably effulgent. Unimaginably effulgent and brilliant. But now as we move a little closer, because when they probably use the analogy about understanding what is a train, a railway train. And you ask some child, what is that coming down the tracks? Oh, I saw, it's a bright light. Because at night there's a huge headlight in the front of the train, illuminating the tracks in the distance. And he ran, and someone said, go see the train. I hear a conch shell like siren or whistle. Wah, wah. He runs down, and he runs back. What's that? What is that? That's called a train. Someone says a railway train. Yes, Daddy. It's a big, brilliant light coming down the tracks. And then someone else goes a little closer and sees it go by. At first sees a brilliant light, and they run back. So no, behind the light there's so many boxcars, connected, linked to one another, with couplings, and there's some engine pulling them all. Acha. So some machine going down some tracks with a headlight. And then someone else says, wait a minute. I followed the train and it came to the Mathura Junction station and stopped. And I went inside and I saw there's people inside. And there's a dining car, and there's a sleeping car, and there's a Ras Leela car. And when some cars are having Ras Leela, and some cars are having Nidra Leela, Nikunja Leela, sleeping, Swapna Vilas. Some cars are having Bojan Leela. Some cars are just doing Ban Bihar, looking out the window at the forest go by. So in this way I saw so much variety. So in the distance we see this brilliant Mahajyotir Dham of Lord Nityananda coming down the streets of Navadvip, surrounded by his associates, his Sangha. Then and somebody runs back, I heard Nityananda's coming. Yes, he's Mahajyotir Dham, brilliant light. Anything else? Yes, he's around with a few people. Anything else you saw? No, I didn't see. And someone else waited and he got close and they saw, I went and I saw Nitai's body is decorated with alankar and mala, beautiful flower garlands, gulab and juhi. I saw his body was covered with ornaments and garlands. And I looked closer. He was chewing betel nuts mixed with camphor. That's really looking close. But how will you know whether the betel nuts are mixed with camphor or not? Unless you get so close you can smell them. It's not that everyone's chewing betel, it's chewing camphor mixed with it. So, his lips were reddish, suranga adhara. So these are some qualities that Nityananda Mahima. This is called Nityananda Rup Mahima, Nityananda Guna Mahima, Nityananda Lila Mahima, Nityananda Na Mahima, Nityananda Gauranga, Nityananda Gauranga, Nityananda Gauranga, Nityananda Gauranga, Nityananda, 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 Nityananda Gauranga, Nityananda Gauranga. This is Na Mahima, glories of Nityananda's name, which becomes especially sweet when it's combined with his devotees. If you say Krishna, that's sweet. But if you say Nandalal, that's sweeter. If you say Yashodanandan, that's even sweeter. Because the sweetness of Nanda's bhav is mixed in the name Nandalal. But his bhav is not as sweet as the Vatsalya bhav of his wife Yashoda. So when you say Yashodanandan, then Krishna's name becomes sweeter still. So when you say Sham, then it's very nice. But then you say Sham Priya. So then it's Sham with Radharani. Sham Priya, not Shama Priya. And then that's Krishna, but Sham Priya. So Krishna likes, that's what they say, that if you chant Krishna Chaitanya, that's very nice. But if you chant Shachinandan, Krishna Chaitanya describes Lord Gauranga, Nimai Pandit, he took sannyas, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, and he will be attentive in the mood of Aishvarya or in the mood of Audharya. But when you address Gauranga as Shachinandan, then what's mixed in there is motherly affection, the affection of a mother. So then Sachinandan, Gauranga, Chaitanya, he takes on the mood of a mother, which is more than just preaching and liberating conditioned souls. And very affectionate, very tender, very intimate and concerned. So this is, now we're hearing about the Rup Mahima, the glories of his Rup. He's wearing so many garlands and ornaments, golden necklaces and pearl necklaces. Suranga Adhar. And his lips were, his Adhar, his lips were Ranga, Suranga. It's very red. I mean, very red. Suranga, Ranga means blood red. Deki Ram Nityananda Prabhu Ravilas Keho Sukhapai Karo Na Janme Vishwas. Seeing the pastimes of Nityananda Ram, some people became happy and some felt no faith in him. So as then, so today, some people are happy to see devotees and happy to hear about devotees, and other people, they don't even believe in devotees, nor do they believe in Krishna. Some people are happy to hear about Krishna and happy to see the Murti of Krishna and devotees of Krishna. But other people, hey, don't have any faith. Huh? What is this idol, stone idol? This is not God. I have no faith that this idol is God. Archa Vigraha is the representative or the personal presence of God. It's simply an icon, a figment of your Hindu imagination. There's no reality. So they're na vishwas. And interesting, in one sentence you have two kinds of people. Keo sukopai karo na janme vishwas. Some people, faith could not be born in them. They're seeing God. I don't believe it. Nityananda is God. Supreme Personality of Godhead, Balaram Nityananda. And people are seeing Deity. Deity Ram Nityananda Prabhu Vilas. Ram Nityananda, Nityananda Ram. Deity, they're seeing him. Ram Nityananda Prabhu. They're seeing his Prabhu Vilas. They're seeing his pastimes with Gauranga and seeing the pastimes of the Master, Nityananda, and becoming happy. And we're happy to hear about them because we're his devotees and trying to be his devotees. But so many people may hear, or may, at that time, 500 years ago, they saw him and they were not impressed, not interested. What to speak of any faith arising in them. Se navadvipeka achena brahmana chaitanyara sangetana purva adhyayan. In Navadvip, where Nityananda was wandering with his associates in Sangha, there was one Ek Brahman, who previously, Purva, studied with Lord Chaitanya, Adhyayana, Chaitanya Sangha. Nityananda Sarupera, Dekiya Vilas, Chitte Kichutana Janmi Jache Avishvas. When that Navadvip Brahman saw the Vilas of Nityananda, he developed some doubts. Kichutan Janmi Jachaya Vishwas. He chitte kichu. In his consciousness he became a little bit doubtful and his faith was somewhat wavering. So now we've heard about some guna, Rup Guna and Rup Mahima and Guna Mahima of Nityananda. Now we're going to hear Leela Mahima, because this chapter is Nityananda Mahima. Some drama is unfolding here. Some people, first the point was established that the generic masses of Navadvip that are interfacing with Nityananda, some see him and they're happy, overjoyed, to hear the Sankirtan, to see his beautiful form, malas flower malas and bakul malas and fragrant flower garlands hang from his chest, and his Navaratna bracelets and gold bangles and rings and earring in one ear, and see his beautiful dark red lips from chewing pan, which naturally accents the beauty of his Rakta Gora complexion, his reddish golden complexion with beautiful dark blood red lips and beautiful fragrance of betel-nut and camphor coming from his mouth. Very attractive, and long hair hanging over his shoulders and blue silk dhoti and chadar, broad chest, tall figure, almost 7 feet tall. All auspicious bodily parts and long arms and beautiful fingernails and beautiful white teeth like pearls. So people naturally we become happy to see something pure. We become happy to see something beautiful. So the purest thing and the most beautiful thing is God. So when you're seeing the purest thing and the most beautiful thing, then everybody became Sukapaya. Deki Ram Nityananda Prabhu Sukapaya. But then Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying some of the people, they were avishvas. They saw him, but they weren't attracted, they weren't interested, they didn't increase their faith. And now that's the broader camera, the broader state. But now the camera, that's the whole crowd he's talking about. See all this crowd, they're feeling like this. And all of a sudden then one camera zeroes in, camera 3 zeroes in, out of all the crowd of people observing Nityananda going by. The camera focuses in, and then you see a close-up of the face of one Navadri Brahmin. Because generally the camera 2 is panning the whole audience, and then the narrator is making a comment. And you see some people are smiling, oh, I'm very happy, and some people are looking a little, Just like when you go on Harinam, as you know, Amayatma Prabhu, or Amaya Prabhu, anyone, that some people look at you, oh, Hare Krishna, they're smiling. Some people go, they look at you with various smirks and questionable looks. They go, they sit like this, if they have a little goatee or something. Very interesting. What are they doing? Looks rather uncouth. Bunch of heathens. Various looks we get, and the devotees, usually when you're in the kirtan party, everyone who's smiling, devotees don't pay much attention to them because it's not much fun. But the devotees in the party usually go, hey, check that guy out. There's some guy looking at you, giving really nasty, dirty, unfaithful looks. So then we come more focused on them and try to increase our chanting in his direction. Turn up our love light so he gets a little more brilliance on his heart. Increase his faith. So now the camera is zeroed in on one Brahmin, and he has some doubts, avishvas. Now let's hear more about the cameras on this Brahmin. And we're looking in this camera, seeing the face of this Brahmin, and the voice is speaking. Chaitanya Chandrete Tara Bharadrita Bhakti Nityananda Swarupera Na Janena Shakti. This Brahmin had firm faith in Chaitanya Chandra. He had Drita Bhakti, Bharadrita Bhakti. On one side he saw Nityananda, and he was Janma Avishwas. No faith would take birth in him. Simply Nityananda is the counterpart of Chaitanya. So now he's Bharadrita Bhakti. It's amazing. How can you be? It's amazing. You're looking at God in one form. God, Chaitanya God. I have Bharadrita Bhakti. I'm very Drita Vishwas, very firm faith, very strong, powerful, unbreakable bhakti and love and devotion for Lord Chaitanya. A Bharo, very big, very deep and profound and unshakable and immovable. But then I see Nityananda God. Oh, I don't know. I can't. I think I can accept. I don't believe. I have doubts. Avishwas. It's the same God. Nityananda is Chaitanya. Chaitanya is Nityananda. Chaitanya Nitai. Nitai Chaitanya. Don't we say sometimes Gaur Nitai? Sometimes we Nitai Gaur. Gaur Nitai, Gaur Nitai, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur. So one is to one is the other. So this Navadri Brahman is doubtful of Vishvaswala. He had firm devotion in Chaitanya Chandra. But he was not aware of the potency of the Shakti, the Janena Shakti. He did not know the Shakti of Lord Nityananda. So you can imagine, if a Navadri Brahman can't perceive or understand and see the power of God, then how can people see the power of devotees? Shakti. The word here is Shakti. Na Janena Shakti. Shakti means power, potency, influence, prabhav, transformational power, potency. He couldn't even see it in God, Nityananda. Nityananda was all about transforming, and he was all about the potency of elevating and illuminating and blessing and giving. And he couldn't even see that. So what to speak of seeing the power of devotees? What is that power? Kripa Shakti. Kripa Shakti. Devotees have the power of mercy. Mercy means they bring God into someone's heart. This is the power of the devotee. He has the power of mercy to bring God into the heart. You can say God is in the heart. Yes, He is. He brings God, He wakes up God, He shows you God, He reveals God. So in one sense, He brings God into your heart. He's there, Chaitya Guru, Paramatma. Well, who knows it? Who sees it? Who realizes it? Who's awake to it? Daive se brahmana gelena nitlachale tataya chena katadina kutuhale pratidina jaya viprat Sri Chaitanya stan Parama Vishvasatana Prabhuracharan Daive Se Gelena Nilachale. By arrangement of providence, that Brahmin went to Nilachala and happily stayed there for some time. So this kind of a flashback here that it's interesting. This Vrindavan Das Thakur is like a master movie maker with words. Because if you're watching a movie, sometimes you're watching a movie and the hero is sitting in a convertible car with his girlfriend or wife or whatever, and they're overlooking the ocean, watching the waves lapping on the beach and the full moon rising. And he's saying, see this ocean, my beloved? It's vast, it's unlimited. And when I was young, I was in the merchant marines. And once we went on a cruise from here and Bombay, and I went all the way to Africa, to Zimbabwe in Africa. And then all of a sudden the camera changes, and it shows this same hero as a young man walking off that marine boat, that merchant boat, cargo boat, in Zimbabwe, and he enters into the Africa, and he's narrating, and then you're seeing, you see they do this, they time shift, place shift, they shift the time in the movie from one scene to another, shift the place. So this is going on right here 500 years ago. There was no movies, no TV, no radio. Initially the scene is Navadvip. That's the thread of the story. Nityananda has been sent to Navadvip from Nilachala, which means Jagannath Puri. And he's there with his 6 associates and moving and preaching and engaging in Leela. And one person has observed him in Navadvip. And now the author steps back and says, okay, come with me, I'm going to take you. Because I just told you something about this Brahman. I just said he's Bhara Dhira Bhakti. Chaitanya Chandra Bhara Dhira Bhakti. He has such firm faith and strong devotion in Lord Chaitanya. So then, as I often said, you should read with curiosity. What's going to happen next? Read with curiosity. What's going to happen next? Or well, how did he read with a questioning? Well, he has Dhira Bhakti. Well, how did he get that Dhira Bhakti? How does he have Dhira, firm devotion, unshakable devotion and faith in Lord Chaitanya? How did he get that? He's in Navadvip, and Lord Chaitanya was in Navadvip. Now Lord Chaitanya is in Nilachala since he's 24, but this Brahmana is in Navadvip, meeting Lord Nityananda quite a bit later, when Lord Chaitanya is 25 or whenever he sent him from Nityananda from Puri. So how did he get this firm faith? You can think like that. This is the suspense and how drama and rasa develops in the reader and in the observer. Oh, I'll tell you. You know how he got this faith? You want to know it? By the arrangement of God. Previously, he was in Nilachala. He stayed there very happily for some time. And acha, just as you imagine if you're having a dialogue, where the observer, the reader, is having a dialogue with the mind of the writer. Just like the observer of a movie is having a dialogue with the producer or the cameraman of the movie, the director of the movie. His mind is saying, oh, what's he going to do with us next? What's he going to show us next? What scene is going to come next? This is how people watch movies. Usually this is happening. Oh, this is happening. Will there be a shootout? Will he grab her and jump in his car and run away? Will he jump out of the building? Will he throw a hand grenade? The police are attacking the building. Will he throw hand grenades at them and blow them up and go out the back door and escape? And anybody that's an involved reader, unless you're just sitting some deadbeat, blindless, mindless observer, which maybe most people are, but not everyone is. That's why not everyone's a rasika. But it's some go deep into the matter. So he's saying, so you're asking, oh, Vrindavan Das, imagine you're having a conversation with the author, Vrindavan Das. Vrindavan Das says, see this, and you're walking with Vrindavan Das. Say you're standing in Navadvip 500 years ago, and you're standing next to Vrindavan Das. You say, wow, look at Lord Chaitanya. Look at Lord Nityananda. Doesn't he look so beautiful? With his flower garlands and mala and his beautiful red lips and long hair. Look how happy everybody is to see him. And then Vrindavan Das says, yes, look at yourself, how happy you are. And then you too are also happy, Vrindavan. Vrindavan Das. Yes, but look, you see there's some people, they don't seem to have faith, they're not very happy. Yes, look at that one. Vrindavan Das, look at that one there. See that one? Oh yeah, he's a Brahmin, isn't he? Yes, he's a Brahmin. Do you know him? I don't know him. Oh, he has so much faith in Lord Chaitanya, but not any faith in Nityananda. Acha, really? How did he get that faith in Lord Chaitanya? Well, listen, Krishnadas. Once, Vrindavan will tell you, he's answering your question. He previously spent some time in Nilachal with Lord Chaitanya. Acha, well, what did he do there when he was in Nilachal, when Lord Chaitanya was there? Pratidina Jaya Vipra Sri Chaitanya Stan Parama Vishwasatana Prabhuracharan. Krishnadas, that Brahmin went every day to see Lord Chaitanya. He had great faith in the lotus feet of the Lord. So Pratidina Sri Chaitanya Stan, he went to the place of Lord Chaitanya. What is the place? The Stan of Lord Chaitanya in Puri. Gambhira. Where does Lord Chaitanya live in Puri? You sure? Gambhira. Don't get too confused. Where's the Stan of Lord Jagannath? The Mandir. He lives in the Mandir. That's his Stan, his place. So every day he went to Gambhira to see him. That means pretty attached. You may have disciples, but do they come every day to see you? No. Once a year, once a month, whatever it's their bhav. So he's going every day to see Lord Chaitanya. And Parama Vishwasatana Prabhuracharan. In the lotus feet of Gaurachandra Prabhu Chaitanya, he had Parama Vishwas. Great, complete faith. Wow, that Brahman, Vrindavan Das, that Brahman was really fortunate. He was staying some time at the same place and the same time Lord Chaitanya was in Puri. He was going
Paripurusham Tamaham Bhajami Venu Manantam Maravidu Dayakasham Bhavata Samasitam Budashudaranam Pandavakotikamaniya Visheshashubham Govinda Haripurusha Amabhajani Avaniyasya Triyaviti Manti Pashyanti Panti Kayati Shriram Jagati Amadachimaya Sadhu Jwala Vigarasya Govinda Adipusha Ayada Samasudha Raja Rama Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare
Radhikara পরমায়ানন্দে কৃষ্ণ করে নব জান চলে বলে লাডু খাই শ্রীমধু মঙ্গল বগল বজায় দেয়া হরি বল রাধিকারে গানে হেরি নয়নের কোণে তৃপ্ত হয়ে খায় কৃষ্ণ যশোদা ভবানী ভোজনন্দ প্রিয় কৃষ্ণ সুবাসিত বারি সবে মুখ প্রকালয় করে সরি সরি আস্ত মুখ প্রকালিয়া যত সাকা গানে আনন্দে বিশ্রাম করে বলদেব সানে জাম্বুল রসালানে তাম্বুল মশালা তাহাকে কৃষ্ণচন্দ্র সুখে নিজ দেলা বিশালাকাশী কি পূজা শ্যামর দুলায়া অপূর্ব সায়ায় কৃষ্ণ সুখে নিরয়ায় যশোমতি অঙ্গ প্রিয় ধনিষ্ঠয়নীত শ্রীকৃষ্ণ প্রসাদ রাধা কুঞ্জে হয়ে প্রীত ললিতারি সাক্ষী গানা অবশেষ পায়া মনে মনে সুখে রাধা কৃষ্ণ গুণ গায় হরি লীলা একমাত্র যাহার প্রমোদ ভোগারতি গায় ঠাকুর ভক্তি বিনোদ কত বৎসল শ্রী গৌর হরি গজব কত বৎসল শ্রী গৌর হরি শ্রী গৌর হরি সহি গোষ্ঠ বিহারী শ্রী গৌর হরি সহি গোষ্ঠ বিহারী নন্দ যশোমতি চিত হরি নন্দ যশোমতি চিত হরি ভজ গোবিন্দ গোবিন্দ গোপাল এবার করুণা করো বৈষ্ণব গোসাই,
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 পতিত পাবন তোমা বিনে কেহ নাই, পতিত পাবন তোমা বিনে কেহ নাই, যাহার নিকটে গেলে আপো দূরে যায়, যাহার নিকটে গেলে আপো দূরে যায়, এমন দয়াল প্রভু বা কথায় পায়, এমন দয়াল প্রভু বা কথা পায়, গঙ্গার পরশ হলে আশাতে পাওয়া, গঙ্গার পরশ হলে আশাতে পাওয়া, দর্শনে পবিত্র করো এ তোমার গুণ, দর্শন পবিত্র করো এ তোমার গুণ, হরিস্থানে অপরাধে করে হরি নাম, হরিস্থানে অপরাধে করে হরি নাম, স্থানে অপরাধে নাহি পরিত্রাণ, তোমার স্থানে অপরাধে নাহি পরিত্রাণ, তোমার সদা গোবিন্দ বিশ্রাম তোমার হৃদয়ে সদা গোবিন্দ বিশ্রাম গোবিন্দ কোহে না মোর বৈষ্ণব গোবিন্দ কোহে না মোর বৈষ্ণব প্রতি জন্মে করি আশা চরণের দূরে
All right, thank you very much, going for class. Today's proper language. Going to read from Prabhupada. Nectar.
Thank you, Gurudev. Hare Krishna.